Yeah, g'day everyone, and welcome back to the Gold Coast Titans Frontline podcast. Really excited to announce the man beneath me right now, Blake Russell, otherwise known as Russ from Blake and Danny, boasting over 1 million followers all across social media. Huge Titans fan, mate. How are you? And welcome to the show.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me for the 2025 Titans season. Hopefully we can have a better one than last year. Thanks for pumping my tires up with those 1 million followers, because I reckon 990,000 of them are actually Danny's. But thanks, mate.
Look, I actually remember seeing your videos on TikTok back in the day, the comedy skits that you do with Danny. And then I saw something else. I saw you wearing a Titans jersey in one of the videos. And I was like, I wonder if he's a Titans fan. Because, people aren't too boisterous about the fact they're Titans fans. I'll tell you a story. I met a guy online playing a video game. And I was talking about NRL. And I said, who do you go for? And he goes, I don't want to say. And I said, I already like you, mate. And he goes,
it's a bit like that, eh? You just know who he's going to go for.
Exactly. I knew what he was going to say. And I said, no, don't worry, mate. I'm in the same boat. So it's awesome to have that representation, man, and awesome to have you on the podcast as well. Quick housekeeping note for some of our listeners. If you can leave a 5-star on the podcast service you're listening on, that will help. Subscribe, like on YouTube, do all that good stuff. Helps us grow the podcast, which in turn helps us grow the front line. And this will be our last podcast behind closed doors, just because we don't have that game to recap as well. From next week, this will be live on TikTok, Instagram, wherever you want to watch. We'll be bringing your guys' comments up on screen, and it'll be a lot more interactive. All right, usually now we go to our Titans news segment, Blake, but the only news is that we are heading to Sydney earlier on Tuesday.
Today, wasn't it? Yeah, today.
Yeah, which I don't mind, because we've got the Sunday game, so I don't think it's too much of a distraction. I think we'll be absolutely fine there. Usually we'd recap any injuries, suspensions, and news for you guys here. No recap there. Then we would move to our NRL recap. It was a bye last
week. We have no recap as well.
And as you famously told me, we are the only side in 2025 not to concede a single point.
We have not conceded a point this year. And you know what? Everyone always says Titans' defense is poor, but look at us. We're the only one with the perfect defense this year. So that's something, guys, straight up.
Desi's dojo has been in overtime this preseason. So I actually stole your joke. I commented on the NRL's ladder post, and I said, say whatever you will, facts don't lie. There's only one side that hasn't conceded a point yet. And look, sorry to steal your joke. It's got a lot of interactions, a lot of clicks. Not
People
all
took
positive.
It too serious, eh?
Mate, not all positive.
I was waiting, because I did it in the morning on Sunday morning, and I was like, oh no, Para and Melbourne have still got to play. And I was just waiting for Para just to cross once so I could do that post and be like, we're the only team that haven't conceded this year.
Yeah, mate, it's the way to do it. No, I stole your joke, and I'll put my hands up and admit as much. We also have a 3-2-1 segment for you all this year that will return. So for those that were here with us last year, it's called the Frontline's Finest. So Blake and I, throughout the year, will give our 3-2-1s for NRL and NRLW, and we actually get a physical medal made up with the Titans Frontline logo and give that to the players. So we did that last year. It's just, it's a bit of fun. It probably doesn't mean too much to the players, but for the frontline community, it's pretty cool receiving a medal.
The players want it. I'm telling you, they'll love it, mate.
Mate, Dalian medal, never heard of it.
It's bigger, mate. It's the frontline medal, mate.
The Frontline's Finest. It trumps every medal in the game. You know what, guys? At this stage, we'd also usually have our affiliates recap for you. We'd go through all of our players that are assigned to Queensland Cup and some of the lower grades, such as our promising players like Sam Stevenson, Cooper by Zane Harrison, etc. All Queensland Cup games were postponed due to the ex-tropical cyclone Alfred. So nothing to recap for you guys there.
There's nothing to recap. No NRL games to go over, but it's all good. It's all good.
But usually, exactly. Usually we'd have that all for you guys, and we'll put it all there. So our aim with the podcast is that you can be a massive Titans fan, and if you tune in with us every Monday live, you can chat with other Titans fans in the comments, and you can get essentially everything you need to know about the club in one place. That's our goal. That's what we will do. But we move on to our NRL preview segment, mate. And this is going to be a pretty quick pod, judging by the fact we're breezing through. Let's react to our team list first and foremost. So that has dropped. Was there any surprises for you or anything that stood out in particular when our team
100%. I think everyone, the big one is Dave Fafita not starting. So that's the big one, but I don't hate it. Like, I know Khalees Haas is starting, and you've got to look at his trial. He had a trial where he had made 38 tackles with 0 misses. And we all know Des is a massive stickler for defense. And I don't hate it. Bringing Fafita on the 25th minute when they're tired. I don't hate it. We all know he's going to start later on in the year, but a couple games off the bench, I don't hate it. Everything else, 1 to 13, it's what we sort of expected, I think.
It is pretty similar to the sides we send each other, but I'll tell you why I like Fafita off the bench. I think against the Bulldogs, they're a team that they're not the largest forward pack, but they do fight tooth and nail. And you can get into dogfights with them. Not trying to, be a joker there, but you can get into dogfights with the Bulldogs. And I think having that X factor off the bench with Dave really will help. But it's 100%. Also a risk, in my opinion, because if we don't get ascendancy early and our middle forwards aren't winning the battle, Dave's not necessarily the player to come on and do that. Whereas if you played, let's say you had Tino at prop and you drop RCG or Moeki back to the bench, you would have a player that could come on and spark that momentum. We see Mo do it in Origin, for example.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a risk, but, man, I don't mind it at all. Looking through the rest of it, not too surprising to me. Anything else for you?
No, not really. Like, I feel like the only one that they could have done, they could have moved Tino to prop and Randall at 13, but then we don't really have, with Carter being out and Foran being out, we don't have that 14. So I'm guessing that's what Randall's going to play because he can play anywhere. So I guess that's the right call. So I don't really see that's the only big change that was in my 1 to 13, but I don't hate it.
I must have missed Brock Gray this preseason. Usually we hear players like, he's training the house down or he's being fantastic, he's standing out, but we didn't really hear too much. Now, he played a few games for the Bunnies, I think, last year when they had a lot of injuries, but he has like 120-plus New South Wales Cup games. So although he's inexperienced at NRL level, this is a guy that I reckon he's going to come on and not let us down. I reckon he'll come on and be a bit of a defensive workhorse, which is what Desi will love. And it's the role I expected Cleese Haas to fill, if I'm honest. I had Cleese in that jersey coming on and getting through the tough yards. So awesome work there by Brock Gray, and really excited to see him debut.
First game for the Titans, so see how his debut goes. Hopefully it's all good for him, mate.
Very excited to see his debut. All right, mate, let's break down the game. We are at Sunday, 5:15 p.m. Queensland time, 6:15 p.m. New South Wales time. Belmore Sports game. Bulldogs have won 3 of their last 4 against us, and we can't forget one of those games includes round 3 last year. We lost 32-0.
That was a game Tino done his ACL too.
It is. And not only did we lose devastatingly, in a way, our season also ended there. I lost a lot of faith losing Tino. That's how important it is. So I think when most people break this one down and look at it, they will predict a tough afternoon for the Titans.
Do you see it that way? Game. Yeah. Oh, that last year, like it took us 6 games. We were 0-6, and like this was one of our worst performances. And Tino going down, like that was a terrible game. But I don't think it will be that bad. We are going to do a lot better this round. Like I looked at Doggies the other day, and I didn't actually think they were that good. Like I feel like we've really got to shut down Kikau and Burton, their left edge, and put kick pressure on Burton. Because the Dragons, they put no kick pressure on Burton the other day, and he was putting his bombs up like it was nothing. But if we have someone running through, putting some kick pressure and shut down Kikau on that left side, I reckon we'll be all right. Because in the second half, they tired out a lot.
Yeah.
And
the Dragons did start to mount a comeback.
And they started to come back. So I feel like feel like kick pressure on Burton will I don't know, we'll just change the game.
Yeah, I think as well, like when you talk about kick pressure on a half, it's not the largest, like it's a bit of a niche area of the game, but when it's left unattended for 80 minutes, like the Dragons did, it eventually starts. I know.
Yeah.
And like they had a few players drop his bombs. Then they had poor start to sets because, the Bulldogs were there and ready and none of their players were back yet. It really did add up. So I agree with you. I want to see that pressure really put on Matt Burton. I suspect it will be Cleese Haas's job. I think he'll fill where Dave would usually be to start the game. And Cleese has a big motor. So I think he's more than capable of that. Look, I'll start my breakdown. If you want to jump in any time, please feel free.
Yeah, go for it, man. Go.
I fully recognize why we're underdogs here. There are a lot of factors against us, but I actually think Titans fans have a right to believe we can win here further than early season optimism that we've had in previous years. Now, I reckon this is a spot where emotionally and physically, the whole roster is going to be up for it. The players don't need reminding of what happened here last year. And they don't need reminding that we started our season 0-6 and it was over before it even started. That simply can't occur again. And that much is obvious. But I reckon emotionally, Des Hasler is really going to look every player in the eye and challenge them because he himself knows that this is, I won't go as far to say a must-win game, but we need a strong showing. We
need to be competitive. We need to be competitive.
Definitely.
Like we need to put up a fight and be like, you know what, we were around today. We were up there for 80 minutes and we were competitive. If we go out there and get smashed 20-0 in the first 20 minutes, mate, all Titans fans are going to be like, here it goes again. It's another season. But if we go out there and give a good first half performance, even if we're only 6-8 points down, but we're in the fight, that's what Titans fans want to see. straight up.
That same optimism that I have now, I will admit I had last year. I thought in round 1 we're going to smoke the Dragons. Round 2, I believe we had the bye, and then round 3 we versed the Doggies. And I remember thinking, Des is going to have him ready here against his former club. We're going to be up for this game. When we weren't, I like make a religious effort to not talk bad about the Titans online. Even I made a post on my page saying like, this is just too much as a Titans fan to take. Another season where we're doing this. But I honestly think that we will learn from that. We will learn from it. The reason why is it's another preseason under Des where the players now, they know what to expect physically and they know how to respond emotionally. Whereas you look at some of the interviews with like AJ Brimson, Keanu Kinney, and even Jaden Campbell, I believe, they hadn't ever been coached by a coach like Desi before. And they actually said like, we were a little bit lost on his expectations. Yeah. Tino, oh man, he did an interview and he said, Des Hazard was telling him, look, I want your contact good this year. And he goes, you know what I mean? And Tino goes, yeah, I know what you mean. Desi goes, stand up. And started wrestling Tino in like an office boardroom. Really? He got Tino on the ground and started like using his forearm and stuff. And Tino was like, oh my God, what is going on? So Desi's
just a different type of training that they'd been doing before, eh? Like,
I tell you what, like that's different. That is different. But that's Desi. And that's why we love him. But now the players know how to respond to that a little bit better.
Yeah, they've had a whole year. They got a second year. They know what they're expecting. I feel like this could be exciting. Like, all right, people put this in perspective. Like, we have Kinney, Jaden Campbell, and Brimson. We got 3 fullbacks playing in our team. You know, the last team that had 3 fullbacks playing their team, the Storm 2020.
Yep.
They had Pappenhausen, Hughes, and Munster, and they went on to win that. So if we can adapt the same sort of play style as that, you never know, man, because it is exciting stuff. We saw it in the second trial. I know the first trial was no good. The second trial against the Dolphins, mate, we looked awesome. We had a good half, and we put on some awesome points, and it looked good. JC was like controlling the troops around, and we looked really good. So I don't know.
I've heard really good things about Jaden Campbell's preseason. Apparently, he's really found his voice, and that's something that Preston did back in the day when he transitioned to halfback. Found his voice, found his confidence. So it's not too far to assume.
And that's what we really need. That's what we really need. We need someone that's a halfback, all right? I know JC's played 5'8", in the like last year, played 5'8", and Brimson, he was playing all over the park, but we need Brimson just to have his running game and not worry about leading the troops. That should be JC's role, and that's what we really need, man. Straight up. We need a halfback controlling, like what Foran has been doing for us last year. So hopefully it pays off.
Hopefully, man. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I will even say our forward pack is probably better than the Storms was in 2020. If I'm absolutely honest. Like,
mate, you got to look. We have potentially 5 State of Origin players. RCG's played, Mo's played, Bo was in the reserves for Feeder and Tino. Like, that's a State of Origin forward pack.
Yeah, and then someone like Jimmy Jolliffe and Chris Randall, they were 2 of our best forwards last year. So it's not like they're earning their wage as well. Here's the thing for this game. Even if we are up and we get a big win, I'm actually going to look at it really level-headed. I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself because I do expect there to be so much emotion in this game in wanting to ensure we don't repeat last year and get that big win for Desi against his former side. That, let's say we win. I'm not suddenly going to be convinced, the Doggies were a top 8 side last year. That's where we're going to be. But a win would be a massive confidence booster nonetheless.
100%. Like,
you don't want to overplay it, but you can't undersell it either, right?
If we go and win on Sunday, we're on 4 points already. It took us like 10 rounds to get 4 points last year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
so straight away, if we're round 2 on 4 points, we're already going, oh my God, what's going on here? Like we're at the top.
Yeah, that belief has to build amongst the
belief
players.
straight away. It's just different where we were at the bottom last year. We could be up near in the top 4 of just from one win.
Here's my key to victory for this one. I'll get yours in a second. Something you're going to single out as really important. I think it's our forward pack, and arguably the forwards that are going to come from the bench in this one have an even more important job, which I know sounds crazy, but hear me out. I just look back to last week against the Bulldogs. Now, they were in a dogfight. I know I keep using those words against the Dragons middle forwards, but the Dragons are thin on middle forwards this year. Not only are they thin, they also had an injury. That's when the Bulldogs players came from the bench, and they were able to build a ton of momentum that the Dragons couldn't get back. Now, I don't think they can do that against us. I think our forward pack is more than powerful enough to disrupt their smaller forward pack that's typically known for being relentless and having a high fitness level. I reckon we can get over the top of them early. And then it's up to our bench players to come on and make sure that standard doesn't slip away and their bench doesn't come on and have momentum and big impact like they did last week. So that's my key to victory. It's all in our forward pack in this one. I think they set the tone. And if they set the tone, I know we've got enough points in our back line to capitalise. And with our 3 fullback attack, like you noted earlier, what's your key to victory or one thing that you really want to see on game day?
I was pretty similar to that, Len. I feel like Fafita is going to be a massive plus for us coming on when he does. If there's a couple of tired forwards around, if Des gets him on at the right time, I feel like he can break the game open. Like I said before, putting kick pressure on Burton will be massive. And mate, I'm telling you now, I reckon we're going to run over kick out. His defense is rubbish. So I could really see, that's on Bo's side, I could see Bo going over for a try against him.
The thing is for kick out as well, like he does do a lot of 1%ers really well, kick chase and stuff like that, but that does fatigue him. And as you said,
had so many missed tackles the other day.
Yeah, he gets
I feel like we should be targeting his area. We should. That's their danger side, their left side. But I also think in defense, that's their weak side. So I feel like that's where we will be trying to target.
I love that too, because if you do tire them out and, when we've got the ball, then they've got less energy in attack as well. So yeah, I really like that key to victory as well. Let's quickly touch on try scorers. I'll give you my top choice in a smoky. My top choice has to be Alofiana Khan-Pereira. 44 tries, 44 games. I hate to state the obvious, but the Bulldogs did concede 3 tries to the left winger in Christian Tuipulotu last week against the Dragons. For a smoky, I reckon AJ Brimson. I reckon this game will have a lot of fatigue in it. It'll be a forward battle, and he's someone that always backs up after a break, or he's always around the
he'll be there. If there's a break, he's going to be there.
Yeah, and even off kicks, he's going to be chasing, so he's a chance there. He just competes on everything. And if there is fatigue in this game, Brimo's fit enough to still be at an elite standard, pressing up for the ball, looking for opportunities. So they're my 2. Who's standing out for you?
So I won't go with Loffy as well. So I'll go Kinney. I feel like same sort of thing as Brimson. Like he could be backing up, or he'll be the one making the break. And then, like I just said, Bo Fermel is my smoky.
Mate, I love those picks as well.
I feel like Bowie will get over for a try. So
yeah.
Final
prediction for me, mate. I reckon this is a game we can win. I really do. I'm not brimming with confidence. I'm not like an 8 out of 10. I'm probably around a 6 out of 10. I think it's, although we're underdogs, I think there's a more than 50% chance we can win this game. I'm really optimistic about our chances for everything we said in that breakdown. And if we don't win, I don't see us getting blown out of the water by any circumstances. And I'll always be honest with you guys. If I think we're going to get blown out of the water or we look like we're in a down spot, I'll call it as I see it. But I don't see that here. I see us being up for this. So if we don't win, I reckon we'll give a good account of ourselves. What's your final breakdown, mate?
Well, technically, this is our round 1. So we've got nothing to go off last week. So let's be optimistic because we have nothing to go off. So at the moment, we won last week, technically. So let's just say, I just want a good footy game. I want to be in the fight. I feel like we can win. And I'm saying 5, 6 out of 10, but who knows? They could go out and absolutely change our minds and blow the park out. And that's what we want. But yeah, let's just see what happens because we don't know. We've got nothing to go off. So let's just see how the boys go and hopefully they dig in.
100%. A big part of that will be the frontline cheering, whether you're at the game, whether you're watching on TV, whatever it is. Get right behind our boys. It's a fresh season. There's plenty of belief in this side, and we want to replicate that belief as the frontline and more broadly as fans of the Titans because it's an exciting time for the year. I know in previous years we probably shouldn't have been as excited as we are, but I think that there's a lot of optimism with every fan right now, and I'm really loving being amongst the frontline community. So shout out to everyone and get behind our team. Alrighty, guys, short, sharp one for you guys. We're under the 20-minute mark. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Gold Coast Titans Frontline podcast for our round 2 preview, and we'll be back next Monday night live all over social media to review the game and preview round 3. Thanks for your company.
Let's go Titans, eh?
Woo!